Hey everyone, welcome to our Project 2 implementation. And yes, this is a fun and interactive tile game. So let's get started. Um, let's start with a new game. Um, let's input a seed. Alright, enter the show on the road. So as you can see, so I'm going to list off our three creative mechanics first, and then I'll display them each in its own unique light. So one of our creative mechanics is the whole map is created with food, so they're collectible. So as you move over, you see you collect the food. So that's one of our um, creative mechanics. Another creative mechanic we have is the scope of view. It's also paired with a cheat code I'll show later. And our last creative mechanic is um, monsters and how that's paired with changing the difficulty. So let's start up and let's look at it. So one of our creative implementations is change difficulty. So if we change difficulty, we're given a couple options. So let's click C and we'll see what happens. So we can go from 1 to easiest to 7 to the hardest. So this difficulty is what correlates with our monster creative mechanics. So let's start with 1. Okay. And let's press a new game. Alright, let's press a new game here. Okay. Let's put a seed in. Okay. Seems like we're good to go. So, we're starting up the game. Now, this we set very low difficulty. Now, with our creative mechanic of viewing, as you can see, it's we're gonna have a certain amount of viewing. Now, to kind of display the creative mechanic of changing difficulty, I'm gonna use our cheat code. So our cheat code is OP. So if you type OP, you get to see the whole map. So there's the whole map. So now you can roam around and see the whole map. So there you go, and you go. Now, as you can see in the top right corner, there's a food left counter. Now, our food creative mechanic is kind of what our game revolves around. To win the game, you have to collect all the food. So the total amount of food in the map is displayed uniquely for each map, because each map has a unique amount of food. So in this map, after collecting whatever I've collected already, we have 1914 left. Now, that's how you win. You have to collect every single drop of food. Now, with the difficulty of 1, you can see it's pretty bearable. Now, what each difficulty does is it affects how many monsters there are and how quickly the monsters move. For a difficulty of 1, there's very few monsters, and the monster moves only once every many moves you create, right? But for difficulty 7, as I'll later display, there's a lot more monsters, and they move once every time you move once. That becomes difficult. So, to win, you have to collect all the food, which is pretty possible for difficulty 1. Now, how would you lose? To lose is if you run into a monster. So I'm going to get a bit closer. Let's see what happens. I'm going to just dilly-dally around a bit. Alright, and I hit it. So, there you go. So, I lost. So, there you see our win. So, you saw our loss. I'm not going to go through the win, because, yeah, it's going to be a long amount of time. But if I did collect all of them, we would win. So, now let's make the difficulty 7. I'm going to show you the difference between this. So, I'm going to create a new game. Let's make our seed some big number. Alright. And let's start it. Okay. So, here's our seed. Now, as you can see, we have this field of vision cropped out. And just to show you kind of like what we're working with, I'm going to hit OP, our cheat code, to kind of reveal the whole map. So now you see, with 7 difficulty, the monsters move every time I move, and in addition, there's a lot more of them. Like, look at this middle room. Alright, let's go to this middle room. Alright, just for fun. It's a bit dangerous, but we're going to venture into here. This is middle room. how to collect all the food in this middle room. How am I gonna do that with so many monsters? So, I'm gonna give my shot at it. I'm probably gonna die, but let's try. So I'm collecting the food. It was a bit risky. Oh no. Okay, so a monster got me. So, as you can see, our one creative mechanic of monsters linked with the change difficulty is huge in our game. So, I showed you change difficulty and monsters, and I showed you collecting food, and I showed you the cheat code and viewing. So now, let's do one last game. We're gonna change the difficulty. Let's make it 5. Not too bad. All right. New game. Let's do some seed, and let's start it up. So I'm just gonna move around, see how much I can get. I'm going, and you know what? It's kind of too hard, so we're gonna use our cheat code of OP. Use our OP, see the whole map, and now we're in the home stretch. So, as you can see, I think our game's pretty fun. We introduced multiple creative mechanics, and there's a definite way of winning and losing. Although, when you play with intense difficulty, winning takes a lot of patience, and it's very implausible. But with the easier difficulties, like 3 and lower, it's definitely a possibility. It's definitely possible, and like in this round, we only have 1,300 food to collect. It isn't too bad. Definitely doable. Although these monsters in that big room could give me a little scare, and if I hit a dead end, I could get hit by monsters. Especially without the cheat code of OP, it becomes difficult. Now, also with the cheat code, if you ever feel like it's getting too easy, you click OP again, and boom, you're back at the scope view. So, yep, this is our implementation, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.